Elden Ring's long-awaited DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree. If you thought the base game was an epic journey, just wait until you see what From Software has cooked up this time. This expansion isn't just another chapter. It's a gauntlet, a spectacle, and a return to the raw mystery that made Elden Ring so unforgettable. From Software isn't here to hold your hand, and that's exactly why we love them. This DLC is packed with brutal challenges, mind-blowing boss fights, and some of the most intricate level design they've ever crafted. So grab your flask, sharpen your blade, and let's break it all down. The new world, the punishing encounters, and whether this DLC lives up to the hype. The moment you step into Shadow of the Erdtree, there's this weird sense of familiarity, like, oh yeah, I know how this works. But don't be fooled, this place is designed to humble you. The Realm of Shadow takes everything you learned in Elden Ring and cranks up the intensity. You're back at the bottom of the food chain, and even with the new scaling blessings that help you adapt, the early game difficulty is straight up brutal. And let's talk about this new world for a second. Because From Software outdid themselves. The level design is next level, packed with towering settlements that loom over you, crypts hidden just out of reach, and pathways that make you think you've found a shortcut, only to hit a dead end or, worse, a surprise boss fight. It's dense, it's layered, and it constantly keeps you on your toes. Even if you played Elden Ring to death, this DLC brings back that thrilling sense of discovery. One of the biggest additions is the new progression system, blessings that scale you and your spirit ashes to match the increasingly ridiculous enemies. But don't get too comfortable. Even with buffs, enemies here hit like absolute trucks. If you thought you could brute force your way through, Shadow of the Erdtree is here to remind you to respect every fight. But it's not just about survival. There's a ton of new gear to play with. We've got fresh weapons, armor, consumables, and spirit ashes to mix up your build. Even if you've been rocking the same setup since launch, there's something here that will tempt you to switch things up. And if you're into Elden Ring fashion, get ready, because some of these armor sets are straight up legendary. Plus, every item is packed with lore, which, as always, is like a little puzzle waiting to be solved. Alright, let's talk about what we're really here for, the boss fights. And wow, From Software absolutely went all out. These are some of the most intense, visually stunning, and mechanically brutal fights they've ever made. Whether you're facing a towering nightmare or a fast, aggressive humanoid, every boss demands your full attention. Some of them unleash combos that seem impossible to dodge. Others spam magic that covers the entire battlefield. There are even fights where you're dealing with multiple enemies at once. And of course, there are those moments where you just have to stop and admire the sheer design of these bosses. Whether it's their grotesque transformations or the breathtaking arenas they fight in. One of my favorite things about From Software's bosses is how different they feel for each player. That boss that took you hours, someone else might beat it in 5 minutes. And vice versa. It's that unique balance of difficulty and strategy that makes these games so satisfying. Shadow of the Erdtree delivers that feeling over and over again. At its core, Shadow of the Erdtree is everything we love about Elden Ring, but turned up to 11. It brings back that sense of wonder, challenges you with some of the best boss fights in the series, and gives us a final adventure that feels like a true culmination of everything From Software has built. Could they have played it safe? Sure, but instead they gave us something bold, something punishing, and something that will stick with us long after we put the controller down. If you're wondering if this DLC is worth it, trust me, it absolutely is. Just be prepared to struggle, adapt, and eventually triumph. Because in the realm of Shadow, nothing comes easy. And that's going to wrap up our review of Elden Ring. Shadow of the Erdtree. Have you jumped into the DLC yet? What's been your toughest boss fight so far? Let's talk about it in the comments. And hey, If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more deep dives like this. Until next time.